This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that he was as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
なんか超評価高いこのゲーム。
And then one day,
謎のゲーム。めっちゃ評価高い。
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
お、始まった。仕事失いました。誰か。スタンリーめっちゃ足滑る。
All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
めっちゃスタンリー動きがツルツルしてる。これ敵として出てきたら打ち合い強そうだな。会議室ごめん話聞いてなかった。はい。ちょっとごめん挙動に感動して話聞いてなかった。会議室行けって言った？何いきなり始まったんだけど。意味不明。ソリティアやってる425番。同僚。こんなたくさんの人たちみんなどっか行っちゃったの？やべ、話聞いてなかった。会議室行けって言ってた？会議室ってどこだよ？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左のドアに入りました。なんで指示されなきゃいけねえんだよ。俺はな、自分が生きてえって思った方を道行くんだよ。俺は右利きだから右に行く。なんでお前。ああ、そういうことね。はい、そうなんだよ。重要なラウンジに行きたかったんだよね。ちょっとみんなラウンジにもしかしているんじゃないかなってちょっと気になってるんだね。
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after
なん
all.
か回収され
Just
た。
to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully
逆張りムーブ
constructed
したら。
room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
じゃあちょっとやってみるか。指示通りにやってみるか。
Yes, really.
何このゲーム。
in the room. A room so utterly captivating
やめて
that
くだ
even
さ
though
い。
all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
指示通りに動くと動くか。
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
これずっといたら話してくんのこれ。いつまで話しかけてくんのこれ。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
何このゲーム。俺の考え読まれてるみたいで気持ち悪いな。やだな。いや、俺絶対動かねえから、マジで。ほら、言える、なんか言えること言えよ、ほら。なんか言えよ。なんか言えよ。いや、動かないよ、俺。この程度で終わるわけないだろ。
A few moments later.
終わり？さすがに終わりか。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
最初のドアを通りました。やだよー。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
どうだよ。なんで言われた通りに動かなくなるの？なんか。まあ、とにかくジャンプするのって書いてある。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
あれ俺なんかやっちゃいました？
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story
敵じゃないのか。ごめんごめん、俺敵だと思った。なんかすげえ話し合ってくるんだけど。あ、ごめんなさい。
Please stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
やだ。
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
誰？
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
誰？
To put your
なんか物語変わっちゃった。変な物語になった。
back into your life.
いや、俺最後まで言うと聞かねえ。最後まで言うと聞かねえ。俺も絶対言うと聞かねえ。ここまで来たら。意地でも言うと聞かねえ。誰だよ、彼女って。よいしょ。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect.
いや、めっちゃ怒られてる。
How is that even possible?
ごめんって。ごめんって。そんなまくし立てなくてもいいだろ。ああ、す。
What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it.
そんな言わなくてもいいじゃん。ああ、
You're not Stanley.
わわわ。
You're a real
ああ、い
person.
やいやいや。
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices.
そうか、俺はサンディじゃない。
You run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe
なんでそこまで言われなきゃいけないんだよ。完全人格否定されてんだけど俺。
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, my goodness, is it 4:30? I am supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack.
あ、びっくりした。ブルースクリーン。
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would be. This way, please.
教育を受けたから、この言われた通りにやれるはずだよねってことだよね。絶対やんね。絶対やんね。もうなんか別のゲームになっちゃってるよね。消えた従業員はどこ？スタンリーの仕事の謎はもう完全に別のゲームになっちゃってるけど。何ゲーこれ。しょうがねえな、行くか。あ、なんか帰ってきちゃった。やばい。戻らされるわ。 よかったんだけどな、俺はあのルートで。帰れってさ。なんか柵から降りることもできなくなってない？
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform.
そうだよね、できなくなってんだけど。
Main character dying senselessly halfway through the story.
降ろせ俺を。
Would make no sense at all.
やだこんな敷かれたレール通りに進むなんて。
narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place
やばい、帰らされるスタート地点に。
with reality.
これめちゃくちゃやりすぎてスタート地点に帰らされる。ゲームオーバーや。うわー、どこにも行けない。
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
なんでこれ右が開くんだよ。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
バグってる。ダメ？さすがに。しょうがねえな。物語進めるか物語。しょうがねえな。
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything
Oh,
we
no,
talked
bug
about
っちゃってる。
my story.
Ah,
You
すいません、
destroyed
すいません、
my
すいません、
work.
すいません。
Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so
いや、
special?
俺はちょっと後悔してるよ。楽しめばよかったかなと思ってるよ。
Garbage. It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect?
すいません。あー、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
I can't
すいま
erase
せん
that
ね。
knowledge.
すい
I'll
ま
have
せん
to
ね。
live with it forever.
はいはいはい
Living
はい。
its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely?
そん
To
な怒
willingly
んないで
destroy
よ。
all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do
バ
I
グっ
do?
ちゃった世界
What
が。
do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
あー、強制終了食らう。
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are.
開始10分やそこらで。
It was the only
こ
thing
んな
in the
展開
world that
ありえ
was
る？
mine, and you've run it into the
あー、すいません。
ground.
すいません。
What, did you think that would be
怖い
funny?
怖い。あー、ごめんな
You
さい。
just had to see?
すい
Didn't
ま
I
せん。
impress upon you how important it was to be
すい
like
ません。すいません。
Stanley?
申し訳ない
He
です。
actually knows how to do what I tell him to.
はい。
He
はい、
understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it.
サンリーじゃないの僕。
That thought
いや、ちゃん
hadn't
と説
even
明聞いてあげればよ
occurred
か
to
った
you,
な。
had it? That there's a world outside of you. You're a child.
なんでそこまで言わなきゃいけないんですか。
Oh, my
いや、物
story.
語見たかったな。
If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
これで右開くのかな。もう右開きゃいいじゃん。なんで右開くんだよ。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
さっきの
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that?
無限ループもうこれ。あ、もう無限ループこれ。もうダメだ。意地でもやらせようとしてる。意地でもやらせんのこれ。え、本当に？無理これ。5回ぐらいやってみるか。え、本当に？無限ループこれ。マジで無限ループ？
No!
ああ、無限ループっぽいな。もうこれ強制的に進めさせられるわ。
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
しょうがねえな。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
下行けないのかな。わあ、なんか一本道にされてる。もうやだよ俺、敷かれたレールの上歩いていくなんて。俺は自分のやりたいこと、自分の行きたいとこだけ行って生きてきたんだ今まで。ゲームの中でもそれは例外ではない。なぜ俺が
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
ちゃんとそれ
Shocked,
処理始まったな。
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Nightshark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
What?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Huh? 助けて
Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
Stanley?
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
Stanley?
Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision.
めちゃくちゃやりすぎて
You understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine.
ゲームオーバーになった
Be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward.
こんな感じだったんだ、ここ入らなかったら。おもろ。
Do something? Anything? This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
マジシュールだな。
You hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide.
ここで止まってたらこうなってたんだ。
Sure, your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you
めちゃくちゃやりすぎてゲームオーバーになっちゃったんですけど。めちゃくちゃやりすぎてゲームオーバーになりました。
But Stanley simply couldn't handle
ああ、
the
なんかもう
pressure.
始まった。
What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that.
マルチエンドっすね、多分。
This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy.
スタンリーになってみるか、じゃあ。
I will be happy.
あ
Stanley waited. Hours passed. then days.
扉閉まった。
Had years gone by, he no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
ちょっと出れないんだけど。あ、終わった。これもエンディングの一つだ。じゃあしょうがない。スタンリーになってみ
Stanley
る。
knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
従ってみよう。スタンリーとして。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
あれ？
stunned
さっきと
to
違
discover
う。
not an indication of any human
部屋の
life.
作りが。
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief
全然違
who
う。
orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
言われた通りにやってみるか。
By simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
こんな。何が起こるんだ、スタンリー。お前どうなるんだ、一体。さっきまであんなふざけてたのにな。急に真面目になるやん。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go
言われ
unanswered
た
for
通りに
long.
動くだけですよ、私は。ほう。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
エスケープ。へえ、ここで逃げても分岐するんだ。いや、行ってみよう。マインドコントロールされてみよう。これエスケープしたらまた違うあれなんだろうな。気づかなかったんだな。この
The
スタン
lights
リーは。
rose on an enormous room packed with
この
television
スタンリー
screens.
は
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
どうなるの？分岐どんだけあんのよ。逃げたらどうなるんだ。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
無力化するか、じゃあ言われた通りにスタンリーやるか。あ、オンオフがある。じゃあ言われた通りにやるぞ。 でもな、でも言われた通りにやってみよう。すべて、これこそ、
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay
はやる
unsolved.
よし。わかんないこと。
Where had his co-workers gone?
ね。
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
何いい
Stanley
話にしてん
stepped
の。
through the open door.
これで戻ることもできるんだろうな。戻ることもできるんでしょ、多分これ。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Good end です。なんだ、いろいろあんな。右行って、
The
めちゃ
meeting
くちゃ。
room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone.
なんかちょっとメッセー
ever
ジが
again.
違う気がする。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ここは左行くか。ここは左行って、どこのルート行ったらわかるんだ、いいんだこれ。右のルート行って電話取ったらわけわかんないでしょ、多分。右のルートで、橋から降り
This
る
was
か。
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this
ほ
room.
ら、
What
即
a
出る。
beaut, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
やだ。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
あ。ああへえ、
Stanley knew
す
the
ごい
office
この
layout
ゲ
like
ー
the
ム。
back of his hand.
この
It was
ゲー
only
ム
a
す
matter
ご
of time before he
もう
found
コ
the
メント見
others,
てもいいだろ
wherever they were.
すごくないか
Just
な
a
んかこ
matter
の
of
ゲーム
time.
なんか何でもできそうじゃない？だから結局スタンリー
When
で
Stanley came to a set
俺
of
は
two
スタンリー
open
なのか
doors,
プレイヤーなの
he
かっていう
entered the
話だよ
door
ね
on
こ
his
れ
left.
何でもできるこのゲーム
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All
アナウン
because
ス
he
もすげえ
believed
な
everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was
アナウン
crazy.
スのアドリ
And
ブ
then
力や
something
べえな
occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
ああ確か
All
に
of my
ね
coworkers blinking mysteriously out of existence
そうやって
in a
思い通
single
りにいかないからっ
moment
て
for
す
no
ぐ
reason
狂ってる
at
とか
all.
言うのやめた方がいいっ
None
す
of
よ
it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he
やめてく
began
だ
to
さい
make
よ
other strange
ちょっと思い通
observations.
りにいかないだ
For
けで
example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
確かに
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
これどんだけ喋んだよ。
Back to my boring real-life job
クリッ
pushing
クしたら
buttons.
キーボードのタ
I
ッチ
may
もす
as
る。
well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above
おー、ちょっと夢落ちにされ
He
た。
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so
夢落ちにされ
much
た。
fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and
確かにな。
thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
もう深いね。
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he
進んでいい
knew
の
for
これ。
certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
ボタン
Let
が
me
押
go
したい
back
よ
to
俺
my
も。
job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
あれ目覚めちゃった。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
やばい。
And everything.
頭おかしくな
went
る
black.。
あ、
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
は、誰？
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to
Sunday.
himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and
言わ
what
れた
isn't.
通りに動かなかっただけで
It
強
was
靭扱いだよ
comforting。to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
強靭エンドだ。止まってたから 進み続けないと気が狂ってエンドになっちゃ
All
っ
of his
た
co-workers were gone.
これエンディング100個ぐらいあんじゃねえの
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
マ
Perhaps he
ジ
had
で
simply missed a memo.
なんだ
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
ちょっとマジでエンディング100個ぐらいある。ここにいたらどうなんの俺。はあ
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to
掃除用具入れ
follow.
安
Just
心
an
する
empty
わ
broom closet. No reason to still be here.
安心するわ。頭の中も空っぽにできるわ。
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
落ち着くわ。
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story
いや、そ
whatsoever.
んな本当あるん
I
でし
never
ょ
would have thought to mention it.
なんかあるんでしょそうは言うけど。絶対なんかあるよ。
Maybe to you this is somehow its
え、
own
絶対あるっ
branching
て。
path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
掃除用
Stanley
具
was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection.
Yeah,
That's
right,
how
that
stupid he
boy,
is. That or with drug money.
ちょっ
Also, Stanley is
と
addicted to drugs
What?
and hookers.
おい人格否定が過ぎるぞお前ちょっと思い通りに動
Well,
かない
I've
だけ
come to
で
a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You
Yeah,
got
you
to this
can-
broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just
Oh,
about
hi.
to leave because there's nothing here
What?
when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
いや絶対なんかあるこれ絶対なんかある掃除用具入れんと絶対あるこれ
A few moments later.
だから俺は掃除用具エンドを掃除用具室エンドを心待ちにして待ちますないらしいですはあ自由度ねえわこのゲーム
Ah, second player. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again. Oh no, no,
Eh?
not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
学んでる
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly.
そうだね、知る由もありませんだよね。それがつまり正規のルートなのかな。知る由もありませんだから。つまり押さないのが一番いいんじゃない？
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was
だからスタンリーの立場だったら押さないのが一番なんだよ。知らないんだもんだってスタンリーは。
2845.
もう知らないからね、スタンリーは。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad. Knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead.
What? あ、行き止まりだ。行きたくないな。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
やだ。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
戻ったらどうなんだろう、じゃあ。じゃあ戻ってみるか。本当に。
But of course, Stanley thought better of it. No, realized still on board with too much to live for. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh, 生きてる。サンリー?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
解放軍? まさか。スタンリー解放軍?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
あ、なんかこれあれじゃん。ゲームのマップのあれじゃん。 ゲームごとのオフィスの模型です。3人の仕事場から2つの段までの道のりがゲーム開発の初期に作られました。へえ、その後各セクションの追加や変更が行われましたが、基本的にありがとう初期の。へえ、デバッグモードみたいな。デバッグルームに来たんだけど。デバッグルーム。これさ、ザ・サンリーパラブルのデザインの中でもごく初期に固められた様子。ゲームの残りの部分はこの辺を引き起こす矛盾の延長線上として作られてきました。へえ。デバッグルームに入りました。開発の初期段階ではスタンリーは戦場でエイリアンと戦うエンディングを構想していました。このアクションゲームには意識が芽生え、ナレーターに対抗し始めます。しかし、このエンディングはあまりにもふざけすぎていて鼻につくことが気になりました。また私たちの意図するところではありませんでしたが、シューティングゲームが好きな人をバカにしていると感じてしまいました。へえ、そんなエンディングだったんだ、最初は。まあ、すでにめちゃくちゃだけどな。そういうエンディング今でもあるんじゃない？第2のトレーラーの公開の後、メールでナレーターの質問を募集しました。当初はこのメールをプロモーションに利用するつもりでしたが、いい使い道は見つかりませんでした。ここではそのメールの一部をご紹介します。アパートのエンディング。これそんなもん見てないんだけど。あれは電話取ったらいけたんだな。ここに全てがある。このゲームの情報が。このゲームの情報全てあるぞ。でいいのこんなの見せてもらっちゃって。あ、出口ある。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
何これ？何これ？出るしかないのこれ。オンオフやるしかないの？何これ？あ！
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and choose. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
Oh.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
なんか違う
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
何この道？これなんかいいよ、ナレーター。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
戻れんのこれ？ここまで来ちゃって。
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
やだ。やだ。
No, not the right.
Why would I have
ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
これ、出待ちしてれば入れるんだ。もしかしたら。目の前で。
left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
いや、出待ちすればいけたのかな。What?
No.
Shortcut.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley.
さっき来た場所だ。
Okay. We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
やだ。戻された。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
さっきの左とかで出待ちしたらいけたのかな。張り付いてる。多分無理だろうな。いや、わかんない。どうなんだろ
う。When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over. Completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
なんだ壊れたゲーム
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
壊れちゃったゲームまたここからだ
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
壊れちゃったゲームダメだ
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office
ナレーター
building.
壊れちゃった
Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
これ翻訳した人もすごいな
I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to
おい勝手にリサすんなまただよ
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
さっきの部屋戻るわストーリーの部屋
No, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
終わりないんだ
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably coming into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
なんだこのゲーム頭おかしくなりそうどこまで
Cut the music. go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
怖い。本当に？お前よ。なんもないか。いや、なんもないだろ、これは。なんもないだろ、これか。なんだろう、これ。
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
もう見たからね、このエンディング。
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Oh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
これ何がトリガーになってこんなストーリーになったんだろう。
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything.
何が
What
ト
do
リ
you
ガーにな
want
ったん
our
だ？
story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice.
No.
We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
やべえ、ここどうすればいいんだろう。
And we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
あ、
Oh, hold up, what's this?
コンフュージョンエンド。
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
今どこ？
That's really how all this goes?
4回目に刺されてる。
It's all determined?
ここか。
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone.
忘れてんだ
What
も
could
ん。
it mean?
おい、
Stanley
スケ
decided
ジ
to
ュー
go
ル
to the
通りじゃねえ
meeting.
か。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あ、
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
どこにも行けないって書いてあったよね。行けるよ。あれ行けちゃうよ。進んじゃうよこのままじゃ。
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
なんか封じられてる。入りすぎて封じられてる。行けちゃうよ。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
やだよ
office.
俺。行きたくないよまだ。行けちゃうよこのままじゃ。あれなんでどこで間違った？
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever.
さっきこれ入力しなかったらどうなったんだろう。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
さっき入力したら開いちゃったんだよ。適当に入力しても。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in,
結局開くの
and
か
the
よ。
door just opened all by itself. And
結
Stanley
局開
got
くの
the
か
hell
よ。
along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
あら、なんか来ちゃったよ。進んじゃった。しょうがないじゃあ。さっき行けなかったエスケープの方行くわ。あれエスケープの方だっけ？
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
なんかあんのかな？こっちとか、これ以上。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
もう俺来たんだよな。ただなんか選択肢はあった
Did
よ
he
ね、いくつ
have
か。
the strength to find out?
フリーダムエンドじゃない方にしてみようかな。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee,
僕何番でしたっけ？
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the
ここで裏切るぞ。適当やりまくるぞ。
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
さっきオフにしたんよね。オンにしよう。
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not?
What?
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That time isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Oh. 本当に爆発落ちかよ。
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. Someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Eh? どうなんだ？反応だけ見ようかな。あ、なんだよ。
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
本当に多分でも4時間あるんだろうねこれ。
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out
や
of
りたくなかっ
ideas.
たんですよ、
I
時間
can't
こんな
think
ゲー
of
ム
a
も。
single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you
Oh,
for
what's it
playing.
on?
Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
マインクラフトじゃ
Well,
ねえ
Stanley,
か
is this any better? At last, the
What?
one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is
マ
it
イクラ
enough?
じゃねえか
Tell me
こ
that,
れ。
Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy.
俺がお前を追い込んじまっ
But
たん
you've
だ
only
な。
seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience.
ごめんな、ナレータ
Step
ー。
inside and make yourself comfortable.
ナレーターご
Isn't
め
it
んな。
grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
おー、すごい。
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark.
あ、タイマー欲しいな。俺今見に来たでしょ、ガチでマインクラフトだと
far
思
more
う。
open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and
あ、
linear.
声をする。
Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one.
あ、やだ。
Okay,
まだやりたい。あ。
Yes, I
ト
don't even
ー
know
タ
what this
ル
game is, but I
トータ
love
ルじゃねえ
it.
かよ、これ。
You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What
神
is
ゲー
this
ですよ、
game
神ゲー。
supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious.
俺神ゲーだよ。
Find out what the hell this is.
やった神ゲーできる。おもろいっすよ、このゲームマジで。
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
こうやってポータルは
Genius.
パズルでやるゲームなんですよ。こうやって。パズルゲーなんですよ。
No, actually, you know what? I think that's
やろう
pansy.
よ。や
I
ろう
really
よ。
don't care much to see you stumble through anymore.
あ、
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
434の椅子からいける。434。434。あれ俺のこと騙してる？そんなもんなくない？お、慣れだか？あった。あ。あ。あ。
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in?
いや、面白いよ。
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this?
すごいゲームだよ。すごいゲームだよ。
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
選べないよ。あ、いや、選べないわ。もう一回来る。
All of his co-workers were gone.
あ、ちょっと
What did it mean?
対策しないでよ。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
対策パッチやめろよ。飛び降り対策。お前なんでもしてくれとんじゃ。マジな話、これでリスタートすることも読んでそうじゃない？このゲームって。マジでイエスの表記を見るためにリスタートするやつを読んでそうじゃない？これ。そんなことない。あ。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh, 戻れた。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
展開違うんだ。
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way,
but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable, and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong, and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
すげえ。選択肢一つやっぱ全然違うんだ。2時間耐えると分岐がある？嘘つけ！嘘つけ！